First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking these things as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you can never really know what's up next.
Hello. Braden Herrington here, not with my British-Canadian tag team partner, Davie Portman. He's on assignment, but I have made a hot tag to a very good friend of the show. Some would say he's A+ in some people's minds. I'm talking about our good friend, Boris Aguilar from A+ Productions. How's it going, brother?
Going really good, man. Going really, really good. Been a busy week, but here we are watching more wrestling on a rainy Tuesday here in the city.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you for making the jump in here today in Davie's absence. And I want to say thanks for filling in also while I was away with Davie as well. So thank you for that. And while everyone's listening, check out A+ Productions. Boris, you've done a whole lot of different wrestling podcasts and radio shows and stuff in this world, and if people aren't familiar, go get familiar with our friend. And maybe you were here in Toronto this past weekend at All Out, and Boris was in attendance, hanging out with the post wrestling crew as well.
Yeah, it was a great time, man. Honestly, always a great time at Gabby's, wherever you guys have your parties. Nothing like taking a shot at 11:30 in the morning, full of syrup, to get that adrenaline going after knowing that you're going to be stuck at the Air Canada Center for 7 hours.
The Air Canada Center, yeah. Haven't heard that name in full in a long time. The ACC, the Scotiabank, the Scotia, the bank, whatever you want to call it. Just don't call the Rogers Center the Sky Dome in front of Tony Khan. I have learned first hand from the presser. He likes to call it the Rogers Center, and I said, no, Tony. It's the Sky Dome, and Renee backed me up. It was a ton of fun. Got to shout out you for showing up, and I got to shout out, as always, all the Toronto people or people who came in, maybe your new listeners, old listeners, got to see some people wearing some old Law merch, got to see people wearing some new Poisonrana shirts, all the fun connections in the world of wrestling. So wrestling brings us silly people together, and I want to say thanks, as always, to anyone who showed up, even if you showed up there in spirit. Super appreciate that. And we had like so much wrestling this weekend, and maybe we'll kind of recap before we jump into some NXT and a big preview for No Mercy this weekend. But there was some good wrestling on. I did a show with Davie just on Sunday. Go check us out. Search Poisonrana in your podcast app or YouTube, and hear all our thoughts, including the clips of us asking Tony some questions involving AEW and Toronto and time changes and so much more. Go check us out and give us a follow, Poisonrana.ca, for links of everything else that we do to hear our full condensed, breakdown of everything. But Boris, did you have fun this weekend?
I really did. It was a good time. Saturday was great, honestly. Just being able to hang out with wrestling fans is always fun at the All Out event at Gabby's. And then the actual show itself, like time. Look, it was a long show. Sitting in those seats, especially on the floor, got a little uncomfortable, but it was fun. Like, it was a great time. Some good wrestling was had. Us sickos were thoroughly entertained, it seemed. Interesting, like, what I like to do, especially nowadays, like, reviewing and analyzing and doing all this, is seeing different reactions in the crowd. And my favorite reaction to watch is always from security people or ushers or paramedics. And I was saying this on my show yesterday, A+ Wrestling, where during the thumbtack and tables match with Briscoe and MJF, man, there was this one security usher who, she couldn't stop watching, but she was like, every time they fell on the tacks, she like ran under like on the other side and like went to the concourse. And like, you can tell that she was like, I don't know whether she was bothered, loved it, hated it, thought we were weird, thought we were insane, or all the above. Like, it was hilarious to see that. And that's honestly one of the things I do like doing there, because I know the crowd is gonna love it. The crowd's gonna make the best time humanly possible, and that's what they did. I think that the crowd was a lot better in the arena than it sounded on TV. I say this all the time about AEW shows. The mixing is weird. Look, I get the technical reasons, but it still kind of sucks because you're taking away from that experience that the crowd is giving them. But it's some weird mixing, especially with the music and stuff like that. But it was a great time, man. It was honestly a great time. The crowd was hot throughout the entire night. Some matches where you could tell people were conserving energy for other matches.
Yeah.
But overall, such a long show, but everyone was excited. And Braden, I have to ask you, did you think that the main event would go the full hour just to cut into Wrestlepalooza? And, well, especially because they were announcing the times.
Yeah, I think that was something Davie and I brought up. As soon as the announcer's like 30 minutes has passed, everyone's like, yo, they wouldn't go like full Broadway. They went what, 38 minutes or something like
40,
that in the main event.
38.
Don't get me wrong. Fantastic match, but I think people were fatigued. I think that's my only real criticism of attending so many of these AEW pay-per-views. Now, of course, I'm choosing to do this to myself, and I love AEW and I love pro wrestling, but 5 hours is a long time. We joke around that sometimes they don't even have coffee in these things. Thank God, Canada, we have Tim Hortons. You throw a nickel and you'll find one, but not every venue is like that. It's like, you get tired. 5 hours sitting in a seat, like that is a long. Sometimes it's 6 if you're there for the full thing. So again, love the show. One of my favorite shows, definitely the city of Toronto. We get spoiled with a big pay-per-view like that. I hope they come through again, but it's usually that is something that is almost a whole block of your day, just sitting down and watching wrestling. Even when it's stuff you've been hyped up to watch for so long, it can like. By the main event, people were really tired. I was really tired. I had a huge double, and I was still tired. But I still really enjoyed the show. And then I didn't watch Wrestlepalooza till the next day, and I didn't love it. I didn't necessarily hate it, but I couldn't imagine trying to watch both simultaneously or one after another because it's kind of a night and day show there. So much that ESPN gave it such a bad rating. Which is just comedy, really. Have they fired that guy yet? I'm wondering.
No. Did you see the guy? So, did you see the Raw rating?
That's not a real one. The Raw one is not real.
Yeah.
The Raw one is.
Here's the thing. I'm not shocked about that. A lot of writers, especially people like that, they want the attention, and that's what they're going to do. And they're going to do that to get attention. IGN, for example, does this all the time. They purposely crap on stuff, rate stuff low, just to get the feedback and the social media clicks and stuff like that, right? Like, I'm not shocked. And the way that it was written, you can almost tell that he did this on purpose. Like there was a specific language to it that it was like, come at me, bitches. Like, like.
Yeah. Andreas Hale is the person who wrote this ESPN article. I just think it's hilarious. Like, I don't think he necessarily has a bias. If you look at his stuff, he has been posting about wrestling for a long time. I'm joking, saying, I think it's just funny that ESPN making such a big deal out of this, kind of having a stinker of a show. I say that word kind of selfishly there, but only for ESPN to then be like, hey, this show kind of sucked. So I just think it's pretty funny.
It is, right? But this is the issue, right? When your chief content officer talks all week about how there's going to be surprises and this and that.
Right.
If they had said nothing, people would have still been upset. But I think that the way that they hyped it up, they tried to make this like a WrestleMania-esque show. They tried to make this like the second coming of sliced bread. Right? Like that really hurt them, and it raised the expectations of every fan, and I'll be included in that. I expected more from that show. I expected a lot more surprises, considering that this was their first time on ESPN.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It kind of felt like one of those Saturday night main events that they've been pumping out, like these like TV kind of things. So yeah, I'm not in love with what I saw, but I don't think it was necessarily one of their worst shows. And I've had many, even probably this year, matches or moments where I'm like, oh, I'm so over it. So there was still some pluses. Didn't love Brock Cena, but after seeing whatever is going on social media, John Cena decided to stop tweeting inspirational quotes and then just used it for wrestling again and basically said, hey, AJ, you want to have a match? And looks like he's just learning how to politic in his very last run. John Cena versus AJ Styles is officially happening. Whether this is a work or not, John on social media that's just so funny that he had to tag Triple H only for hours later, Triple H to be like, oh yeah, so this match is happening and now official for Australia. So I think that's pretty cool for Aussie fans. And Cena has said that he's going to really try to make this one special. So I feel like maybe he deep down knows that this run has just been doo-doo, baby. It's been awful. It's been
mid.
Yeah.
It's been mid awful. At best. I can't believe I just said that.
One of the best wrestlers ever, considered one of the best. I mean, the Babe Ruth, the greatest, as they keep telling us week by week, going out, and this is his retirement run. It's like, wow, imagine your favorite band from the last 20-something years and their retirement run. Every time they go out to play the hits, they suck. That's basically what's been going on here. So I hope they can correct the course. And they've definitely changed their tune of like Cena's last match. Like, it's not going to be this one. I don't think AJ is his last match. So it leaves more speculation of the ongoing question, who is John Cena's final opponent? Will we go back to Brock? Are they just vetoing that, Xing out of that, or what? But I guess we're getting AJ Cena. Let's be happy about it. And hopefully it's a good match, but
should be a good match.
Yeah.
The crown jewel, even then, like, honestly, like, with this randomness of that match, even though like you can easily build a quick story where it's John Cena just says, hey, I wanted this match, I'm getting this match. Boom, built-in story there. But it just, the entire event, like especially with Cody and Seth, and I guess we're gonna get Tiffany and Stephanie for those rings. It just feels like a glorified house show.
Yeah. No, that's what Wrestlepalooza kind of felt like.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
It's weird because it's like the TK model of you get, like, let's look at the UFC where they have the numbered events and then they have the fight nights. Like, these are really feeling like those fight nights.
Yeah, that's a great comparison, especially ESPN getting their paws. Like, there's so many big UFC fights, but then when they have them every week, some of them are just like the throwaway ones. But I mean, this one had Brock Lesnar opening the show. So like with John Cena, they tried to make it big, but in the end, I think it was more of a bit of a flop. I wouldn't even say that. I wouldn't even say it's a flop. I'm sure it got some good numbers and stuff.
It was
but
underwhelming.
Yeah, that is the word to use for it. So Cena versus AJ, I hope that one bangs in Perth there. But that, again, is Kurt Angle getting ready for a comeback match with Cena? Who is the final match at this point? Like, Edge, you can't do that one. Obviously, people want to see. Edge wants to see it clearly at the Cope on Saturday. But what is this last match? Like, who else do we actually? Is it The Rock in MSG? Like, at this point, I don't know what it could be.
Right, it's really weird. I honestly still maintain that it's going to be Gunther, and they're literally going to use that match as a building block to Gunther Brock, which is something that we were supposed to see 2 years ago.
All right, I like the way you're thinking, like going with like that's a little out of the box with not necessarily going back to the greater hits, but yeah, I guess we will have to wait and see. And I wonder if it's in Boston, because the way they've been advertising this, Boston or New York, like possibly New York is the last, MSG is the last match that we get, last match moment thing we see. I'm sure he'll be on WWE TV. Vegas time, they'll be calling him back. Hey, can you do one more? You sure? Next year, that Saudi check coming in, they're like, hey, wait, are you sure you don't want to do one more? So maybe they start to pull back the last match ever. Maybe this tour, he's gonna be like Kiss. Kiss was still on their last tour from like 2000. They're still doing the world tour.
I watched
what?
Kiss's last concert in Ottawa in 1999.
Wow. Okay. Well, they've definitely played Ottawa like 14 times since that time, but I've seen Kiss in Toronto. I think it was pre-pandemic, and your face is frozen on the screen, and it's hilarious. There we go. I got you back. I saw Kiss like pre-pandemic, and it was like the last tour ever. And I was like, how long has this tour been going on? And it's like, yeah, from like 1999. I'm like, oh shit. So that's what John Cena is going to do.
Yeah.
Keep it for Saudi Mania next year, which, yeah, I'm really hoping TK brings out a big show next year and the year after around WrestleMania.
They have to. New Orleans.
Yeah. Ain't nobody want to go to Vegas these days. Come on. It's dying. And WrestleMania can't save it. So, yes. But, yes, there's some quick thoughts. We loved the weekend of wrestling, and it seems like every weekend is a weekend of wrestling. But check out all the other shows. Poisonrana.ca. Again, search us in whatever you use and check out all the other shows. We have a Patreon as well. We'll be doing a retro NXT review. Was next, looking at the June 14th, I think, possibly 2014 edition of NXT. We're talking about the first takeover, post fallout from that, and a whole lot more. And plus, I think with No Mercy being this week, I wonder if me and Davey should maybe do a retro No Mercy review. But stay tuned to that. Have you like watched NXT Homecoming last week? Did you enjoy seeing some of those?
I still watch NXT. It's probably the only wrestling show that I watch live, like as it's happening, like without a delay. Usually I have a couple hours delay, but NXT, I think it's just because that's what I used to review over at SNME, right? It just became a routine when on Wednesdays or Tuesdays, just watch NXT, and it's probably the most entertaining show for me, like outside of Dynamite. Depends, but it's my favorite WWE show. So yeah, I've been keeping up to date with NXT for sure.
Nice. Yeah, well, I see a great message here from Jake from the Windy City with a super chat who says, glad my two worlds collide again tonight. This Cena retirement disaster needs to be studied. Truly one of the worst booked retirement runs ever. I appreciate the love there, Jake. Yes, worlds colliding here. And I see someone else in the chat saying, I'd like to see Cena run back and Punk match now that Cena's face again. Enjoy the Saudi match, but the dynamic would be a lot different, from Stephen Bradley in the chat. I kind of agree on that one. I didn't like the Punk Cena redux that we got this year. I thought it was pretty unmemorable. So maybe that's something you could go back to, but I'm not quite sure, especially with Punk doing some media talking about that Raw match everyone likes to bring up. Me and Davey have been doing the Champ is Here series, and we've been going back and watching all the old John Cena. And I think that one definitely comes to mind. Of every guest we had says, that Raw one with Punk might be better than the Money in the Bank one. So run it back one more time, possibly. But let's talk about what we're here to do at Post Wrestling. And that's talk about some NXT, WWE NXT from Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. Yes, we're already halfway there, more than halfway there, folks. We have a recap of everything that happened last week, at NXT Homecoming. You know, I randomly threw this out, but because it was Homecoming and because I didn't have you yet last week, Boris, if I were to say, gun to your head, best NXT takeover or best NXT match or matches of all time, Boris, what would be some of the answers that come to your mind?
Obviously you have to go to Brooklyn with Bailey Mercedes. That one of the that's my
I don't know if people can hear you, but I can't hear you, and now I'm talking into the abyss. Hopefully that's just me. Oh no, I've lost him completely. I've lost my tag team partner.
I should be here. Am I back?
Okay, sorry.
All right.
Repeat your answers for me.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. You know, it's raining. The internet doesn't like the rain, apparently. Thank you, Rogers. Yeah, so obviously Sasha Banks and Bailey is a staple of NXT. That match is probably studied in many schools and whatnot. The other one of my favorite matches, and I was lucky enough to watch it live, was DIY and FTR from TakeOver Toronto 1. That one was one of my absolute favorite matches. So freaking good. Oh, I was just lucky to be in that arena.
Yeah, no, that one definitely comes to mind. The 2 out of 3, most def. I think I said Takeover New York selfishly, and that Johnny Cole match. But there's been some good stuff. It was cool seeing. I had, over the past week, I know there was Wrestlepalooza and All Out, but a few friends who were kind of foot in the water sometimes of wrestling, they were bringing up the NXT Homecoming and like, oh, Finn with his old theme and like all these old memories of stuff. So there is some love still out there, strong love in the world of Black and Gold brand. I see someone in the chat saying Andrade Gargano. Yes, of course. I think Davie's pick from last week. That one's definitely up there. We still have, I think, a t-shirt about that match somewhere. But we're talking about NXT tonight on the road to No Mercy this Saturday. And tonight we have a huge TV match. Finally, one-on-one, Trick Williams, Oba Femi, title v title in our main event tonight. And tonight's episode of NXT was brought to you by TNA Wrestling, because if you look and blink, you might miss all the little cameos, all the little sprinkles of some TNA wrestlers popping up throughout this episode, including right off the bat. I think we had Eric Young, Matt Cardona peeping their heads there, Moose, as you see like earlier today kind of thing, which would be an ongoing trend of just the wrestlers pulling up. So definitely, I'll get it out of the way. It's like long live the Alliance, but it's TNA Wrestling attacking the Fed here. So we'll get to more on what are they here for? They want their title back, I'm sure. But anyways, we start tonight with a lights out match, literally a lights out match. Lexis King versus Myles Borne. The gimmick is that Lexis didn't believe he was blind. Then he thought he was deaf. Then he didn't care that he was blind. And now they've had a match blindfolded, but now it's a lights out match, sort of. There's still like one light on them, I guess, in this. But Myles versus Lexis, it's weapons allowed here. So right away, Myles turns off a light switch during Lexis's entrance, and then they start to brawl, and then they kind of flicker on and off here. But trash cans, kendo sticks, all that plunder early on in this match as they go back and forth, hitting each other. Eventually, there's the running elbow to the back from King for a near fall. Vic and Book claim that they can't see anything in this match. They're like, we can't see anything on our Titantron or whatever, but you can clearly see everything. There's a coronation on the table during picture-in-picture, and then more trash cans to the face, a slingshot into the chair from Myles, and then Myles spears him through the barricade and then starts to whip King just like he was doing with his belt, and then a DDT onto the steps that was set up, and then the zigzag, or as he calls the Born Again, through the table for the win. And Myles picks up the victory. Although the zigzag is kind of the move where you're the one falling first. Yeah. So going through the table is kind of like, oh, okay, you're the one kind of going through the table. But either way, fun little match. Yeah, exactly. Fun little match here with Myles getting his dub back with Lexis. But what did you think?
I thought it was good. I thought it was all right. Like, it was a good start. Myles Borne is improving week in and week out. Like, and I think we have to remember NXT. It's developmental. So at the end of the day, for me at least, that's all I want to see. Half decent stories, good matches, but most importantly, these guys improve week over week to see if they can crack the main roster, and that's what we're getting with Myles Borne. So that's a dub.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know where we go with him. I'm still like head scratching of why we split him and Tavion. If you didn't want to do them as tag, you could do them as singles about still being like weaved cool in. But yeah, I don't know where they kind of what they have planned for Myles. But Lexis doesn't do too much for me. This was pretty like house show street fight here with like, okay, well, we have a trash can and a kendo stick, and that's really about it here.
It's funny that you even say that, because the lighting looked like a house show lighting.
Yes, light show, house show lights for sure with the lights out match. But I don't know. We've seen some more violent lights out matches, I think, in more recent memory. But anyways, we move on. we have Mr. Stone, Rob Stone, and Ava on the phone, meaning Ava is not here. She is in England, I think she says, and Stevie says, "Oh, that's my home country." And they try to tell her that, like, hey, they're running the show tonight. And Ava says, "Don't worry, you got this." But then when they try to tell her that there's TNA wrestlers here, she, just like your internet, it cuts out and she can't hear them say that TNA is invading. And she's like, "I can't hear you, but I know you guys got it." And hangs up on them. So they're a little worried of what might happen with TNA wrestlers here tonight. And that's when we see Ethan Page walking down to the ring. And if you blinked and missed it, you may have noticed Steph DeLander and Mance Warner from TNA Wrestling GCW. But we've seen Steph on WWE NXT before. What was her name again?
Portia something.
Portia?
Petrov.
Right. Yeah, that's right. You know, the weird thing about this TNA invasion is every single person, maybe except Mance Warner, has been on NXT before, has been in this company and let go from this company. So it is kind of funny. It's like they're not even invading on behalf of TNA. They're just invading on behalf of once being let go or fired.
Yeah, exactly. Persia Parata. That was
Persia, of course. Persia Parata. Good call on that. Yes, here she is back on NXT. I see Steven in the chat saying, FYI, Andreas Hale is a great writer. He's one of the guys who collabed with Big E in the making of our Heroes Rock animated series. Good shout out there. Absolutely true. And again, I was joking. I do know who he is and do know his work when I said, does he get fired yet? Because he's a brave man. I'm sure. Could you imagine Triple H reading that review though? That would be.
I can see that, but he's gonna say something like, "Oh, it's the internet," right?
Yeah.
And that I've seen this attitude when I worked at BlackBerry, and it's a very bad attitude to have. Like, you have to take this chatter very
the
serious.
Internet. What do they know? Well, it's a writer for ESPN, the show we did a show for, and they said it sucked. So just do a better show, Triple H.
Yeah.
Come on. Jeez.
Yep.
We go to Ethan Page, a Canadian we can all love here. Ethan Page in all red with the Canadian Championship, I'm calling. He comes down. El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., yes, that's his name, is in the crowd yet again, kind of taunting and teasing Ethan Page as they've had some tussles in the last few weeks. This is when the crowd chant a-hole at Ethan Page. He says that last week he made light work of a so-called Canadian, Tyler Breeze, and then mentions Wagner kind of messing up the winning streak that he had from Worlds Collide, and then doing the mixed tag match also for NXT. And he says, I want to personally invite you to No Mercy this week when I embarrass Tavion Heights. And that's when Wagner teases to get into the ring. Now, am I crazy? So Wagner starts to talk, but it's in English. So Ethan Page caught off guard and then gets in the ring, challenges him to a match. So the ref gets in and the match is on, but they're both wearing like their dress shirts. And Dr. Wagner gets Page in an ankle lock, and Page taps out, and right away taking off the mask. It's not Wagner Jr. It is in fact Tavion Heights, who technically now got a victory over Ethan Page, but it was non-title. So therefore, the match this weekend is still for the title. But I just completely believe this was Wagner for a second. And then as soon as he talked, I was like, oh, wait a second. But pretty funny way to do that.
Yeah, it was an interesting angle for sure. Like, just having, especially the champion, tap out so quick, right? But again, he's just a dirtbag, shitbag heel, right? Like, so it makes sense. Doesn't want to hurt his ankle before the big match.
Of course.
The only thing there is that, using wrestling logic, and we've watched wrestling long enough. A lot of our listeners have watched wrestling long enough where we know where this is going to lead, right? Where Ethan Page is going to get a dub on Saturday.
Absolutely. Like, there's no debate that I mean, I don't know. The only thing I think I said last week was give it to Tavion so that you can right away put Ethan Page on the main roster and just do this exact gimmick with the Canadian, North American, US title, or et cetera, et cetera. Like, this gimmick is so popular and so over. I think he's think he's done everything there really is to do in NXT. He's a good part of it. He's been really entertaining, especially since, say, this role, like even before the Canada stuff, just like he's finally found his groove of, I don't know, being the Ethan Page we all liked before the first NXT run. So I really think he's well ready for a main roster push. And I'm sure as soon as people start to see him a lot, I don't know, it might work out, but I see him beating Davie this weekend.
That's the thing. That was the only thing I thought was maybe he'll lose and get the call up, but I don't know. I think they're just going to wait a little longer for that.
Yeah,
which sucks because again, he's been everything he's done with Chelsea in NXT has been so damn good. I just want to see it on the main roster so badly, and SmackDown needs something right now.
Yeah, he could be a great voice on SmackDown, right? Cutting those promos and just being a dickhead, which he's great at doing. So definitely would like to see that. I don't know if it's Tavion's time necessarily yet, but again, you could pull that trigger and try something with him, and then hey, have Myles face Tavion for this title maybe down the line. I don't know. This run is too good to flip away from it that soon. We go from that to earlier tonight. I love these videos of NXT Degrassi hype, always hanging out backstage. Jordynne Grace is on an iPad watching Blake Monroe's promos from a week or so ago. And this is when Jordynne Grace is watching, when Ariana Grace, share the last name, watches her watching the iPad and says like, oh, you need to leave her alone or whatever. And kind of like downplaying Grace a little bit. So Grace just said like, what did you say? And she's like, oh, we share our last name, but we don't share similar things. She's like, yeah, we don't. So how about we find out which Grace is the better one? And I'll go talk to management and get a match. So that match is happening later tonight. Grace versus Grace here on NXT. Wow.
There can only be one.
One Grace on NXT. We go to our next match. It is in the speed tournament here. Winner of this goes on to face Sol Ruca in a 5-minute match. Wow. 5-minute match. This is a 3-minute match because it is contested under speed championship tournament rules, meaning 3 minutes. Candice LeRae, NXT icon, if you will, comes out. She gets like a pretty no pop, and I could tell she was like, come on, guys, what is it? And then a few people were like, whoa, we're here for you. We're here for you. So I feel for her there. But I felt for us viewers because maybe the biggest pop of the night here, Boris, we get a special guest ring announcer for this match. NASCAR Xfinity driver, the return of Cold Custard here on NXT. Sorry, Cole Custard is here. Cole Custer is here on NXT to announce the Speed Championship Tournament match. Love to see it here. Wow. You big fan of Cole Custard?
I can't say I really watch NASCAR. This is the equivalent of putting Mike Pinball Clemens as ring announcer for a show out of Canada.
A lot of people just scratch their heads. Some people pop, and some people are currently Googling who that is.
Yeah,
long live the CFL. Yeah,
new rules, baby.
We don't like to. I don't like to talk about the CFL on this show. It's banned better, but I do love pinball. Great guy. But I do love Cole Custer, Xfinity. Big fan. Don't know who he is, but he showed up on this show once or twice before, and I like him. What I also like, and I don't think this is true, I don't like, is the speed graphics are all around the ring for this match. Like the lights and everything go back to this. And I was like, whoa, I'm getting flashbacks. I'm watching this on my TV, but it feels like I'm watching this on Twitter. It feels like I'm watching this on X the way it was meant to be, on a tiny little phone. And then now it's actually on TV. Candice and Lainey, 3 minutes here. Candice right away is hitting her with everything. There's like a back senton, slips up on a lion salt, but eventually hits it, misses it. And then Lainey trying to get a quick near falls back and forth. This is when Xia Li and Zaya Brookside show up from TNA, making their presence known. Fast action as they're going back and forth. LeRae and Reid. There's like neck breakers. There's a face buster by Candice on the apron. Candice does a flying like crossbody to the outside. This was nice. throws her back in the ring and does her husband's finisher, the Gargano escape, but she does escape. There's then a Northern Bridge exchange and then a huge V-trigger type knee to the head. And this looked like it connected to the head of Candice by Lainey. And she pins Candice with 33 seconds left to go. So in 2 minutes, 27 seconds, Lainey Reid advances, and Lainey Reid's got the speed. They should have said that on commentary. Lainey speed, am I right? She goes on to face Sol this weekend at No Mercy, as we see Sol Ruca on the perch with Zarya with like their own magic marker boards. And when they see that Lainey won, Sol puts up, "Your soul is mine, No Mercy," which I thought was a nice touch. But yeah, what did you think of this 2.5 minute match?
It was good for what it was. I think, if anything, Lainey Reid's looking strong.
Yeah.
I kind of like her look. I kind of like what she's doing. I think, again, like she's new. But she's got something, and I don't know what it is, but she's got some presence for sure.
Yeah. In the short amount of time, there's definitely something there. She had some cool wrestling moves here as well with Candice, who's, obviously no slouch in the ring. So cool that they gave her this spot. I think they've definitely been creeping her in, especially little bit later on with her popping up again. I wonder where we go with her and possibly a new fatal influence, fatal attraction. I forget which one's the movie, which one's the stable. But yeah, you know what? For a 3-minute match, you get some cool stuff in there. The pay-per-view, the PLE will have a 5-minute match. I could see Lainey and Sol having some fun there. In fact, maybe even give it to Lainey.
I think they will.
2 titles, right?
So, I think they will. I think Zarya will screw her by accident or by accident.
Exactly.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
And yeah, here's the thing. Sometimes these women matches are 3 minutes long. So he might have makes no difference sometimes, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Sometimes matches on TV are this long, but they're actually forcing it to be like action packed. There's not necessarily headlocks in these matches, but
there's motivation.
I can't say, I really did try when Speed was when Triple H was really trying, I guess, with Speed on Twitter. I was like, okay, cool. If I'm on a walk or I'm on my phone somewhere where I'm like, 3-minute match, whatever, cool. But can't say it necessarily got people. It didn't. It clearly didn't, because that's why it's not a thing really anymore. And now it's here. But I don't know. It's something they could continue to try, but it's better. I don't like rounds matches, and this is just one rounds match, essentially. One round in a match here. It's just so quick, but yeah. So we'll see Lainey versus Sol, 5 minutes on Saturday. We have a video promo from Jada Parker. She's talking about how Lash Legend ruined her night and wants revenge, seeking revenge on Lash. And I already know that you're going around telling everyone that you beat me, but what you didn't tell them and what you're not telling people, you have to tell them the truth about what happened after the match, Lash, because I beat you up. And she shows clips of her throwing her through the barricade and says, next time, no barricade, no ropes, no ring will stop me. Clock it. So Jada Parker letting it be known she's not done with Lash Legend. So I imagine we go to that match in the near distant future. But yes.
Yeah.
We go to anything on that?
I was just gonna say it was what it was. Like there wasn't anything to it. Sets up a future match. Cool.
Yeah, I agree. Nick in the chat saying, when I hear Boris's voice, it sounds like John Candy.
That's not the first time I've heard that.
You're not wrong there, Nick. Now that you've said that, I'm really looking forward to that doc. I Like Me, the John Candy.
It was really good. It was.
You saw it? Oh.
Yeah, I saw it on TIFF, man. It was. It was really good. If you like, and the thing is, they did such a good job where you don't even need to know who he is. They did a great job of making you love him on the spot. Someone who loved his career, from Spaceballs to Cool Runnings to everything he did before and after. It was so good. But yeah.
Wow. Oh man, I really need to see that. I'm jelly that you did, because it looks great. And we love John Candy here, of course. Rip legend. And you do kind of sound like him a little bit. Uncle Buck, Uncle Boris here on Up Next. We go to backstage yet again. We have Tatum Paxley, though, hanging out with Lyra Valkyria. She's like, hey, it's cool to be back here at NXT. Last week was, crazy, this and that. But, I'm happy we get to see each other again. Tatum and Lyra, the unofficial love affair of NXT in the last little while. And Lyra jokes that, it tend to let people in and become friends, and then they lose their mind. And this is like Tatum, like, oh, no, obviously Lyra's referring to not only Tatum Paxley, but Becky Lynch and that whole feud and rivalry and stuff in the recent months. And this is where you blink and miss it. But the forgotten son, what's his name? Don't tell me. Hold on. What's his name? He's good. Steve Cutler?
Macklin.
No. What's his name?
Macklin.
Steve Macklin and Alicia Fox. I definitely knew who that was. Alicia Fox and Steve Macklin walk by in the back. And this is when Izzy shows up to talk to Lyra, and Tatum says, she's acting a little jealous, saying you dropped your doll. And remember, Lyra left you before. She'll do it again, kind of thing. So Izzy getting a little jelly of Lyra being back here just briefly. I can't imagine Lyra's staying down here in NXT or anything, but maybe we'll see her on TV or something. But yeah, more TNA people sneaking in through the back. Security is awful here
Right.
at TNA. I mean, at NXT. They just let these people in.
Mike's antenna literally walks in through the front, like later.
Like later, Vic will be like, oh, don't we have security? And Booker's, or the other way around, and they're like, well, we have an open door policy. It's okay. So like that's been the gag is we're just allowed to be here because you've invited. We're business partners, WWE and TNA. So yeah, it's just funny. They're all creeping through the back like Bigfoot or the alien in Signs or something. It's like, oh, look, they're creeping through here. We go to Andre Chase backstage with a busted up face. He's got a black eye and he's just beaten up from Dark State when they're talking to him. And he's like, man, things got out of control. It was frantic. It's getting dangerous out here with the Chase 2.0, Chase U 2.0. Yeah, that's what I'm calling them. He then says they're interrupted here by my favorite, Cole Custer. And what was this? John Mayer? Cam Mayer. Definitely a different person. I guess these guys are both NASCAR racers. He jokes about being a big fan of Chase U. Okay, if you really are, Cam Mayer, name your favorite top 5 Chase U matches. Go! He then says, hey, what about that guy who appears when you say his name? Is that even real? I thought that was a great joke. And Dark State show up and say, no, that's not real. No one wants to see that guy. No one wants to see him. No one wants to hear him. And when they say Joe Hendry, well, his name appears, and it's the guy in the NASCAR helmet that's been hanging out in the back with him. I thought that was pretty funny. That they're really creative of thinking of what they're going to run out of them, but of all the ways Joe can show up, that was pretty silly. The NASCAR guy.
The only thing, like, it's funny, it's a good gag, but the only thing is it really sucks how he's kind of like regressed into a meme.
Yeah, it's not as hot anymore, obviously. Like when WWE get their paws on something, the cool thing, like the jokes run its course by the time they try to capitalize. And I kind of think that's been Joe's been treading water for a long time. Like his stock, and I'm sure his bank account has risen since WrestleMania, but I feel like the potential of that meme and thing, it's kind of, I think maybe the joke has passed a little bit, but we'll see. The real story will to see like what he like can do going forward, or how far this joke will stretch on. But there's a match made official, a 6-man tag, Chase U and Joe Hendry versus Dark State later tonight. So that is official. Jack in the chat, Jack saying, I like that Joe Hendry doesn't give a fuck about the whole invasion. Very true. He is not an NXT star. And here he is just like, yeah, I'm actually always here. I'm always invading this show. And I don't give a fuck about TNA. I'm here to get myself over. So, yeah,
I love that.
Point. Yeah, very good point. We see Jordan Grace. I didn't know this was attached to her opening theme, but it's not over till I win is the opening like tag to her theme song. Didn't realize that before. Is that new? I don't know. Am I crazy?
Yeah, I think that's new.
Okay. It's not over
but I
till I
disagree.
win. I think it's still on after someone wins. Yeah. What about my favorite one? the truth shall set you free, but into what fuck? No. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. The truth will set you free, but first it'll fucking hurt or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's the worst long one. I can't remember.
These are so bad. They're
it's
just
not over till I win.
Yeah. We need one.
It's not over till I win. Jordynne Grace versus Ariana Grace. No relation here. Right as the bell rings, Ariana thinks, well, this is my one shot, and goes after her, starts attacking her, trying to get the upper hand, but eventually it's just the other Grace, Jordynne, who gets the offense, hits her with a spine buster, flattens her completely, and then a torture rack bomb. It's over very quickly. But the story after is Blake Monroe comes out with a pink kendo stick with a trash can, and then Jordynne grabs a chair, and it's a chair fight, and they start to brawl and get pulled apart when Stevie comes out with Stone, and Stevie says, grab any weapon you can, because this Saturday at No Mercy, your match is now a weapons match. And then Stone says, yeah, well, obviously the ring can't contain you two, so it's also going to be inside a steel cage. So it is now official at No Mercy. Weaponized steel cage match only in wrestling this Saturday, Blake versus Jordynne. But what did we think of this whole kerfuffle?
This was exactly what it was supposed to be. Give Jordynne Grace the quick win against Ariana. Ariana's she's such a good seller. So this made Jordynne look half decent, but everything was just to set up the weaponized cage match, which I don't know why my brain thinks that it's also going to be electrified. I know it's not.
I wish.
But I don't know why when I say weaponized cage match, I just assume it's going to be electrified.
That's what I'm waiting for Moxley and Darby. Like, that's the next step. They had a coffin match. The guy then lit him on fire. The next step is to have an exploding
Inferno match where all you wear are trunks.
Well, this one is, I guess, if it's like the weaponized cage is kind of like the
Gargano,
Ravens rules, kind of Raven Funhouse kind of thing, right? Where the weapons are all just like hanging around. But it's funny, we got pink kendo sticks for this, but that's all they always do. Is like, even today it was the trash cans and kendo sticks. It's like there's I don't know. I'm not saying you need the staple guns and lighting people on fire and gummy bears or whatever else AEW does. But at the same time, you do need to do other things than just a trash can and a kendo stick, because like, is there not any other weapons?
Container,
anything, literally anything. So I'm hoping we see some different things, like for Blake's character, maybe a mirror hanging, Jordynne Grace could have a thing of protein
pipe
hanging. Lead pipe, sure.
A big protein thing just there. Yeah. But it's actually the blinding salts or whatever it is.
Right. It could be, there could be a brick inside the container of protein, of whey. Is it whey? Whey?
Why?
Not whey.
I don't know.
But yeah, you know what I mean. Well, that match is officially a weaponized cage match, and we'll see what happens come Saturday. Backstage, Lainey Reid is being interviewed by Kelly, and she says that come Saturday, she will be the new Speed champion when Fatal Influence walk by. And JC says, oh, you know what? Good job, Lainey. I'm actually really impressed with you lately. And then tells Fallon and Jasmine that she actually doesn't need them out there with her right now, so to stay in the back. And this kind of pisses them off a little bit, but JC makes her way to the ring. The NXT Women's Champion will be defending her title against Lola Vice this Saturday. JC says, most people out there, including all of you, called me the third wheel, said I was the most beatable champion or a transitional champion. It's all cute nicknames, but you're all wrong. It says that Lola Vice is a crossover act pretending to be a wrestler. She's flashy. She's got 1 million followers on Instagram, but doesn't matter, because you may have the hometown crowd and all this momentum, but wake up. That's the JC Jane story. You're out there shaking your ass. I'm out here busting my ass. Ooh, bars. She says that I don't have an MMA background, but I've worked my way to get here. That's when Lola Vice comes out, and she says, oh, geez, another person talking about my ass. And then absolutely flames JC Jane with this line. Another person talking about my ass. At least I got an ass to shake, mama. Wow. Crazy. 100 days as champ, huh? Wow. Very impressive. But really, you are the toxic third wheel. And says that the old Lola wouldn't be ready, but I'm a professional wrestler. I'm a WWE superstar, and I'm going to win not for just my family, my culture, myself, but for the people. JC starts to mock her and using her voice and everything and says, you're going to have to go home on Saturday night and look your family in the eye and tell them that you couldn't do it. So Lola drops her, holds up the title, doesn't quite shake her ass. You got to buy the PLE for that on Netflix or ESPN or whatever it is. But Peacock. Holds the title up. Peacock. All right, it's NXT. Lola holding the title, which makes me nervous. Lola, you're not supposed to touch the title before the show. So it makes me think that she won't be winning this Saturday. But I thought JC, this promo was a little like cookie cutter of what we've heard from her before, but at least straight up referencing the third wheel stuff, even before Lola could kind of mention it again here. But I thought Lola sounded really good, sounded really passionate. She's definitely becoming a whole package, I think, with WWE. But what do you think?
I agree with you. I think this was good overall, right? Like JC Jane, it was cookie cutter stuff, but she sounded like she wants to be champion and she deserves to be there. Whereas Lola, it's like her destiny, her childhood dream, the girlhood dream, just, akin to Michael's WrestleMania 11 or 12. So yeah, it's like, I like this overall. The punch and lifting up the belt, wrestling logic dictates what's going to happen now. But we'll see. I'm most excited to see Lola's dad, hopefully there on Saturday.
Yes.
That's crazy psycho SOB.
Oh, man. He's nuts, isn't he? I've heard some stories about Lola Vice's dad even before him showing up on TV a while ago, and then seeing him then in those segments. I'm like, oh, he's crazy. He's crazy. Yeah, I hope he walks out with her on Saturday. That would be a cherry on top. Maybe he gets involved. Maybe Fallon tries to get involved, and then Lola's dad is like, "No way, Jose."
No. Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
I'm honestly looking forward to him the most. I told Davey this on the show a couple weeks ago. He reminds me of Papa Briscoe. Anytime that he would show up,
right? It's like Mickey from Rocky almost. It's just kind of crazy. I want to see a title change. I want Lola Vice to win this title just so that we can, I don't know, free up the title a little bit, have a different run. Maybe JC goes to the main roster. I'm not quite sure what is happening with Fatal Influence here, but maybe what we see a little bit later on tonight, maybe some sort of indication. I'm not quite sure, but we shall see. Announcements for Halloween Havoc. I know there's a few different shows NXT going on the road. I know our friend of the show, B Detroit, was saying they're coming to Detroit in a few weeks with NXT, and that tickets are kind of expensive for being such a smaller show. But I guess they have done that with NXT being intimate, but it doesn't necessarily work out in their favor most of the time because still not as popular as your obviously your Raws and SmackDowns and stuff. But Prescott Valley, October 25th, Halloween Havoc. Where is that? Arizona?
Yep, it's just outside of Phoenix.
Very nice. So another Saturday, PLE, October 25th, Halloween Havoc. We'll get there eventually. Another promo heavy episode tonight. Josh Briggs. It's our what is the insurance company? Progressive report of the thing. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if we have that in Canada, but we get the ads, I guess. But Josh Briggs says, "Oh, you like seeing all the things people tell me I can't do, but then I can. People say I don't connect with the audience. People say I'm not relatable." And then it shows him with his old tag team partner. Oh, we love to see Brooks Jensen on NXT. And he says that things don't work out. People say I don't connect with them. All these online tough, fat podcasters wannabe. I guess he is not a big fan of you or I, Boris. Not a fan of the wrestling podcasters out there. He says, but you're all fans. You're all fans. But I'm great. He says that people like Javon are just like them and say that this Saturday, I don't give a damn what connects with you. All I care about is if my boot connects with his face. So Josh Briggs letting it be known he does not like podcasters talking bad about him, about his wrestling or anything like that. And I did like the line, "It will connect with his face." Briggs versus Javon versus Josh Briggs, No Mercy this Saturday. That should be a really good match, actually. That could steal the show for sure. I actually like this promo. I don't know if we have said he hasn't connected. I think Davie and I have definitely been a big fan of Josh Briggs on this show, but there always has been something that's not necessary. I think it's been the vests. Now, I think he keeps dressing like he's in a biker gang when he's not being in a biker gang. And I think that was maybe something that was holding him back. So maybe possibly move away from the leather vests, closer to championship.
This promo, I think, hit the nail on the head with what's missing with Josh Briggs. And I love Josh Briggs. I've loved him since the Evolve days. I've praised him when he got signed, and the rookie tournament, yada, yada, yada. It's the promos. And having him in this type of promo where they could have recorded at any point, I think he came off a lot better than with a live mic.
That's fair, because we've seen him I did praise him a few weeks ago. Like, the crowd were booing him so loud, and he was still able to continue through and knew when to do it. So I think his promo game maybe was something that was missing, character that was missing, doing a heel persona like this, saying, "Oh, I'm not relatable. Oh, I'm not like your cookie cutter person." Maybe that is what he needed. Right?
And who better to go up against and say this stuff than someone who the crowd absolutely eats up, like Javon Evans. It's really good. Like this program that they're having together is really smart, and I think that it's only going to benefit Josh Briggs a lot more than Javon. Like, Javon's the over. People want him to be champ. Yeah. That's great, right? Like, this won't hurt him either, but it won't elevate him anymore. This is elevating Josh Briggs as a legit heel in NXT, and I'm for it, especially as you might get a few call-ups coming up.
Yeah, we need, the men's division has just been
atrocious.
Messy. Yeah, it's not been good for a long time, and it's like we have long title run from Oba, but we need viable contenders, and we haven't really gotten those. And this guy can have great matches. I mean, all the matches people talk about in NXT in the last few years, some of the best PLE matches of the year, he's in them. He's in these matches. So I think him and Javon could really have a good match on Saturday. And I would almost give Josh the win to go then to Oba Josh, fully at a PLE. I think Javon is the guy to dethrone Oba. I just think we're going to wait till WrestleMania or something when we finally get that one. I know we just had the one-on-one recently, but doing that one more time, Javon winning a stand and deliver weekend would be the big hey, look, young up and coming NXT guy. But I like where we're going with Josh. No tag team partners, being a bit of a dickhead, booting people in the face. I have positive, I hope it can lead to something good and bigger and different with this guy, but he hates fat podcasters, man.
He hates us. He hates us. Fuck him.
We go to Chase U and Joe Hendry taking on the tag champs here in NXT Dark State. We have Kale Dixon in there with Dion Lennox, and he's beating up on him. We get tags in and out with Joe Hendry, who's chopping up Lennox as well. Eventually, the good guys here, the babies, throw all these guys out of the ring and clear it. Kale Dixon looking pretty impressive here. A very nice Fosbury flop. And then during picture-in-picture, that momentum changes as they continue to just beat down on poor Kale. This Dark State, we're just munching on Kale during this picture-in-picture. When we come back, this is when we see Mike Santana from TNA enters the building. This guy is such a badass. It's 9:30 p.m. and he's walking alone through the NXT parking lot.
Ballsy.
Yeah. Ballsy move from Mike Santana, but he made it out. Okay. We see Uriah Faber. No, not Uriah Faber. That's a UFC fighter. Who's this? Uriah Connors, Finley's kid. He tries to get to save his friend, but they end up throwing him into the barricade. Joe Hendry finally tags in. There's a hot tag. He's hitting his moves, the fall away slam on Lennox. And then Andre Chase fires up Uriah, who comes in. He's on fire, but eventually Dark State get the best of these guys, throw the other two out, and they hit the Shield High Spirit bomb on Uriah for the 1, 2, 3. So Dark State yet again getting a win on NXT. But there was some cool stuff. I think the Chase U guys, every time they wrestle, they're actually really impressive. I think both Kale and Uriah in this had like the hot tags where they actually were hitting some pretty impressive like wrestling and offense and stuff. But I think it's Dark State that I don't know. I can't turn the corner on just. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't think they're really good. I don't know what this Shield like Temu ripoff thing is, but the pluses here were not them. And I thought Kale and Uriah looked solid.
At least they are better than Retribution.
Okay, well, I mean, that's any group is better than that group. That was the dude with the
Ali
plate on his face. Oh, Ali, yeah, okay, right, yeah. Those are pretty shit.
That was pretty bad. That was pretty bad.
Like, I don't like these guys very much.
I think, and what sucks is that they're good wrestlers individually. Like they have good matches, but I just can't get behind the whole.
Taking over.
I don't even understand what a Dark State is. Like, what's the idea? Yeah, but I meant like in terms of like, okay, they came to invade, they came to invade, and now they're just there. Like, I don't get it.
It's lazy. It's like going to one of the cheap plays in the playbook of wrestling, but it's like half-assing it. I know they've given the titles, and I think since then I was like, when they get the titles, they'll make them more serious and everything. And it's a little bit of the same thing, like ramble on about some stuff, and they pulled back the Cutler dude making jokes, right? Like they kind of stopped that a little bit here, but I don't know. They needed personality, and I didn't like the personality that they had, but I don't know.
Yeah, Connors was good. He's really improving.
Yeah, his wrestling. His wrestling is good. Yeah, same with Kale. Like the dude's kind of tall, and he's hitting like shooting star type moves to the outside. I'm like, whoa, pretty cool actually. So don't sleep on them, I guess. But yeah, that's crazy. That's Finley's kid. And his other kid's in New Japan with a machine gun at I'm like, yo, one of them's in college in NXT, and one of them's in Japan
doing stuff. Doing stuff. Just doing stuff.
Yeah. Which one's doing better or worse? I guess this guy's only in college. He's still got a lot to learn before he shoots guns in Japan. But, I think both his kids are pretty good wrestlers. Let's see where they can go. But yeah. Anyways, Dark State don't have a match this Saturday, but I don't. There's no other tag team. There isn't really a tag team division. It's just them beefing with Joe Hendry, where eventually Joe should just get a partner to go for the titles, right?
That's what I'm assuming. But who would it be? Like there's I don't know, like
Andre Chase.
I guess that's
Joe what Hendry. Joe Hendry and Chase U is basically what's happened here.
Ugh.
If anyone's keeping score on where Joe Hendry is,
just give it to the Hardys or Team 3D after Bound for Glory.
NXT titles to the Hardys.
Yeah, give it to the Hardys.
You know what? I like your thinking. Let's go with that. Let's go with the Hardys.
It's better than what we have.
Yeah. You're not wrong. Another video for Ricky Saints, the #1 contender for Oba Femi's title this Saturday. We see they go back to New Orleans, the home of WrestleMania this year. Who's excited? We going to see each other down there? Nola? Anyone got their flights? Anyone got their hotels booked?
Right. I know people who booked that like, funny.
You mean like indie feds who've probably booked? Like, come on. All these people booked. I know Davie got his return back on a Airbnb. I think he booked, but flights. You might not get your money back if you've done that. But here we see
the wrong ticket.
Ricky Saints in New Orleans, and he says, "Without New Orleans, who am I?" And we hear some great music playing, some clips of him walking through the city. And he says, "I've been here my whole life, but when you're a kid, things are different. And when you're an adult, perspective changes. And I want people in the city to go, that's our boy, that's our guy." And I knew that I had no other choice coming up, that I had to make it. I had this city behind me, but I had to I didn't let circumstances define me. And shows him having a good night out and says that this week, No Mercy is going to usher in a new era of not only NXT, but of Ricky Saints. Great clip of just him at a bar. I'm sure there's Bourbon Street somewhere, just laughing. All right, now do the laugh. He's just having such a good time. And Ricky Saints, Oba Femi. At least they tried something different here, showing some personality, I guess, out of Ricky. But what did you think? And do you think this is enough to take the title from Oba?
I don't think he's going to take the title. I think it'll be a schmoz ending, but we'll talk about that later. I just don't like Ricky Saints as a face. He's such a better heel.
Yeah.
Buy him as a face, to be honest. Like, it's almost like he's bullshitting us, and like,
I do feel that way. Yeah,
trying to win brownie points.
Yeah, because here he is like laughing. He's talking about like, oh, I had no other chance, and like, I don't know. It just kind of sounds like he says something about being flashy and like, look at the way I dress, the way I talk. It's like, yeah, you're a dickhead. You should be a dickhead. I know he's a way better heel than a baby face, but we'll have to wait till we get there, I guess. You know, it would be interesting if he loses to Oba and then the real Ricky Saints kind of comes out and then he turns heel, and then maybe that's where we go in some sort of direction. But I'm not quite sure. But I didn't love this video and I didn't hate this. I think you went all the way to film there to do this, but I don't know. It did come. You said it came across a little phony because he's better as a baby, as a heel. It's kind of how this video did come across, but I don't know.
Yeah. And unfortunately, my Netflix glitched, and I had to watch this twice.
Oh, even worse. At least it wasn't the. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what was the worst segment.
Wrestlepalooza.
Just the whole show. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole show. It just glitched, and I can't get out.
I had to watch it again. So bad. So yeah, Ricky Saints saying the people of New Orleans are behind him, even though they're going to be in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, Fort Lauderdale. Nice, cool spot.
Yeah, something like that.
Javon Evans is backstage. He's asked about his match with Josh Briggs, and he says that Josh has just been talking and everything, but he doesn't know that I'm the OG. And this weekend, he's going to learn that boy is bouncy. And then we hear some pipes falling in the background. There's always things falling in the background of WWE. And we hear we need a medic, when Jasmine Nix has been laid out and attacked. When JC and Fallon show up, they're like, oh no. And then JC stops Fallon and says, it was time to drop her anyways. Only the strong survive. And JC and Fallon walk off, leaving Jasmine Nix on the ground. Just like the Peter Griffin dead meme, just laid out on the ground, beat up. So is this her write-off? Is this how we not write off people in the world of NXT? What?
Better than being thrown off a bridge or sacrificed, or the way that the Hardys left TNA, where they just zapped out.
Yeah, well, we've seen in NXT people get put in trunks, cars.
Yeah, trunks.
Swim with fishes.
The Angelos.
Yeah. Kind of strange. This is weird. For the past what seems like more than a month. I mean, for just since the group has been together, I guess they've been teasing for the last little while this fatal influence break apart, right? Like they've been teasing the fallout from this group, and to do it this way, is this maybe some sort of swerve where it's actually not what's happened, and that maybe it's a swerve for Jasmine to help on Saturday, so Lola doesn't expect this or something? Or is this just how NXT is choosing to write her off? I think she's someone who's been hella impressive in the last few months. So I don't know.
I don't think she's going to take time off. I think she's just, her involvement in the main event is going to be there, and I'm not 100% sure it's what you said, whether she's going to just help Lola or help JC. We'll see. Maybe she evens the odds for Lola if they want to go that route and just break up the group, but it also seems a little premature to break them up. I kind of feel like JC Jane needs people. I'm not sure if Jasmine needs anyone else, but I feel like JC Jane needs her more than the other way around.
So there's something there with Lainey Reid too, right? Maybe Lainey is her new fallback or her new assist or partner or something, but I don't know. In NXT, when we've seen them only the strong survive and cut and move, that person's then released or sent to Evolve or something. What happens with this? Or this is all part of the storyline. That's the way NXT works. When you've watched NXT, you're like, oh wait, is this supposed to be a swerve, or are they just written off the show to be future endeavored forever?
Right.
Until they're in TNA and then show up again in an invasion angle. months later.
Exactly.
Like everyone else here. Yeah, I see Steven and Bradley in the chat saying, "See you in Evolve, Jasmine." No, come on. I choose to not believe that this is what they would actually do. Like, okay, some soccer player model girl comes in. I think in the past few months, especially this last year, she's actually improved a whole lot, actually. So I'm hoping that this is a JC Jane's tricking Lola into thinking there's trouble in paradise or something along those lines. But hey, man, only the strong survive.
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
Title v title, our main event, a match we've been waiting for months, years even. Trick Williams, the TNA champion, taking on Oba Femi, the NXT champion. Title v title. Winner walks out as double champion. Of course, nothing could go wrong. Not one thing could go wrong when this match was announced just last week. And Davie and I both said, there's no way that one of these guys are walking out with both of these titles. And wouldn't you know it? That's
who would have thought. With the whole TNA invasion stuff, you knew what was going to happen. That's the one disappointing part about this match. But at the same time, they weren't going to give one person the title so close to both pay-per-views.
I just find this weird. This match that they've been like teasing us with, like, okay, Trick and Oba, but then it's been triple threat, and then it's been triple threat, and that we never fully got this match. And here it is on TV, and half of it's in commercial break, and it's a schmoz finish. So really, did we actually get this match, or did you burn it to try to pop some rating or continue this storyline? I very bizarre. Like, if this is the big match that we've been talking about, like, this could be your stand and deliver main event. If they hold off, and instead they give it to you for free. And did they really give it to us? Not really.
This honestly felt like a very Attitude Era type of thing, where they would give you the big match that people want, and it's like a 2-minute schmoz at the end type of thing. And it really felt very Attitude Era.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, hey, there's like, if this is a 10-minute segment, at least 2 minutes of actual action.
Yeah.
Finishers being spammed, but then everything breaks down. That's exactly what happens here. So Trick versus Oba. And I don't know, maybe this is too many months late, too many months early. I'm not sure. But Trick tries to get the best of Oba, but Oba's like, nah, look at me and look at you. Trick tries to hit him with the capoeira kick dances. Eventually on the apron, he gets chopped down onto it. And he's like, ow, that really hurt. We see Trick finally leveling Oba and trying to get some offense. Right before we go into picture-in-picture, Mike Santana shows up through the crowd and joins the commentary booth here as we go into picture-in-picture. Trick then applies a sleeper hold for pretty much the entire commercial break here. Great stuff. TNA versus NXT chants duel out when we come back from commercial. TNA, NXT. There's Trick, who hits a rock bottom or a bookend on Oba, but Oba kicks out at 1. This is when Matt Cardona shows up. All the NXT people start showing up like ants at a picnic here, just all ringside, just slowly appearing. And everyone's wondering, all these NXT people. Oba has a few near falls here, but then eats a pump kick from Trick. Trick counters the fall from Grace into a Hurricanrana, kind of, for a 2 count, and then hits the Trick shot, but Oba kicks out. This is when Oba then hits the fall from Grace, connects on Trick, 1, 2, but Trick kicks out. I'd say the real only part of the match is where Trick kicks out of the fall from Grace, which has been a pretty, strong protected move in the past few months. So Trick kicks out of that, and then they start to brawl. No one can keep each other down, kicking out of each other's finishers when he gets in the face of Santana, which of course leads to Mikey punching Trick in the face. The ref calls for the bell, and wouldn't you know it, a schmoz finish. It's a complete breakdown. It's like the Alliance, Team WCW, ECW, Team WWF, NXT. Hank and Tank are out there fighting Zack Ryder, and Xia Li is there. It's all
the Inspiration was there
breaking down. Who? The Inspiration are there. It's chaos. It's TNA, NXT. It's cats and dogs living together. It's anarchy as Ricky Saints comes out, walks over, grabs the NXT title, But Oba comes out of nowhere, crawls, and says, no, you're not taking this from me. As NXT goes off the air, our go-home show for No Mercy this Saturday. But, it did feel like that old time, like, invasion angle where TNA are trying to do it. But I don't care. I just don't care about every single person except Mance Warner is just a disgruntled WWE employee is what the gimmick or the storyline should be here.
Let's roll with it.
Yeah,
let's
that should be the real storyline here. Like in the Alliance versus WWF, you didn't have Goldberg, Ric Flair, and Bret Hart. You had Sean Stasiak and Mark Jindrak and all that. Like they were kind of the C-level players, and I feel like that's how it is. You're getting your developmental of WWE now versus TNA. I'm sure some people are into it and stuff, but I don't know. I've been over this crossover, and this is the most crossover they've done in the most recent weeks. And I could see it kayfabe wise. If you're a wrestler from TNA and two NXT dudes are fighting over the TNA championship, that would be the day you mutiny and try to attack. But in the end, only one of these guys can still be champion because they're having the match and everything. But I imagine Santana versus Trick is announced for Bound for Glory if it hasn't been already announced. So they missed the boat by pulling the plug with Santana. What, in New York when that last pay-per-view? Like they so totally should have given the title back then in his his backyard, where it might be a little different going in for Bound for Glory and like Lowell or wherever. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't enjoyed when NXT was trying to do all these different things, and they're continuing to do it now with like, okay, here's that speed title that we have. It's just another title. Okay, whatever. But you're throwing this TNA stuff at me. Like I don't watch TNA, and I don't think there's anything that NXT or WWE could do to make me, constantly want to watch and get invested into that show again. And I think it's cool that we're seeing a lot of these familiar faces, maybe not familiar to some people, but I think that's great that they're getting back on TV and everything, but I can't trick myself into thinking this is interesting. I don't think it's very creative in some of the ways that have been done. And it's taken this long to go to it now when I think you should have been doing this when you first maybe brought this in with like Moose or someone like that, instead of giving that match away for free and stuff.
We've gone through some of the big matchups that we wanted to see,
exactly,
right? And that's the issue with this.
Yeah,
what's left at this point? Ash by Inspiration versus JC Jane again. Like, I don't want to watch that. You gave away probably the biggest money match, which was Moose versus Oba Femi, and that what like it.
So is it now Santana Trick? Like they're doing
Santana
that match
Trick
one-on-one, right?
Yeah. Bound for Glory. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. So I didn't fully get my Trick versus Oba match here. You did what you hooked us in, and they had a few kickouts of their finishers, but it was all chaotic with everyone ringside and then the false finish anyways. So you didn't fully get that match, but we should hopefully maybe another. Where do we go with this? Trick obviously dropping the title to Santana, or does he lose it again and continue to be the TNA champ to really juice this
at
out?
This point, I'm assuming he's going to beat Ricky Saints in some shape, way, or form. Now, what happens after at Bound for Glory? If Santana doesn't win, I feel like we're going to get Lex Luger. He's going to be Lex Luger, where no one's going to give a shit about him after.
I thought you said Lex Luger is going to be TNA champion. It's like, holy shit.
No. He's going to be Lex Luger.
You're saying he's...
No one's going to care.
Yeah, because it's too late.
It's too late. That's my one concern. With Bound for Glory happening, October 12th, I can see some stuff happening at Halloween Havoc with TNA, especially if Santana is champion. But yeah, he needs to lose it. Sorry, Trick really needs to lose it at Bound for Glory. I think that if people really don't care about TNA now, they're really gonna care less if that doesn't happen on their side of the house.
Like they're promoting the Dudleys versus the Hardys one last time.
Honestly, that's the match that they're promoting the hardest.
Of course, as it should be, right? But yeah, Yeah, it's tough. You've burned through who are supposed to be your big aces, and it's Santana's one of them. You've kind of geeked them out a little. You could try to course correct, but I think everyone's just on the same page of you should have just done it at that last big show.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And right now they only have 4 matches announced, right? They have Trick Williams and Santana, the Hardys and Team 3D, the System versus Order 4. And then, this match might change. Ash by Elegance or Masha Slamovich versus Indy Hartwell. I think we know what direction they're going to go now.
Yes, that makes sense. But something we didn't necessarily talk about. Masha Slamovich not appearing with the TNA Alliance here, just kind of starting NXT, being on social media. I'm seeing a lot of stuff about Masha Slamovich and some domestic abuse accusations and some stuff on there. So I'm sure in the next few coming days, people will have some statements and things and stuff like that. But as far as it looks right now, as recording just after NXT, it's looking like some places have been pulling some of her dates from indie shows and whatnot.
TNA did say they actually already released a statement saying that they're launching an internal investigation.
There you go. So yeah, I guess more on that as things go on. But of course, postwrestling.com always got the updates of news and everything like that. So stay tuned for information there. But I did notice she wasn't on TV tonight, considering she has been in the past. But
yeah. So yeah. Braden, what do you do at this point? Like with TNA, like it seems like you said that no one's like, a lot of people aren't caring. Some diehards might care, but I don't know. It's what would you do? How would you book this over the next few months?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's some of the cast and crew that they have that we've done some of these big matches, if you want to even call them big. Like I don't know. Like my questions are, there's already things in NXT that they don't even know what they're doing. So
yeah,
now you're mixing things, oil and vinegar, where it's like, wait a second.
And that's
I don't know.
My problem right now with NXT. My one problem, like, it's still entertaining overall, good matches overall, but I kind of feel like they're really at a point where they're just throwing so much stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. Like you mentioned, with the speed titles, with this TNA stuff, even with the entire men's division, I just feel like they really are stuck on what to do and how to get it back on the right path. Is Ricky Saints the person? Probably not. Is Javon Evans the person? Probably, but when? Right? Like, is Oba Femi gonna get called up? Is Trick gonna get called up? When? Like, right now NXT, especially the women or the men's division, is in a really, really weird place.
I agree. This episode made me feel like it felt all those weeks ago, where it was throwing TNA at you and AAA stuff, and it's just like, wait, what? All this stuff I don't care about, actually. So I'm feeling that way again, and this is a go home episode essentially for a PLE, and I don't feel there's any heat going into this at all. I don't think anyone's talking about this like show like we were talking about. Obviously this is NXT, but comparing like the WWE main roster or an AEW or whatever, like this doesn't feel like it has any heat going into this at all. And there's going to be some good wrestling, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not going to be a good show. Their wrestling usually delivers, and I'm looking forward to some of these matches. But as far as like stories or like interest level, it's not high. It's not very interesting for this cycle of pay-per-view, and it wasn't for the last one, and it wasn't for the last one before that. I'm not loving NXT in 2025. I really thought week by week, like last week having the Nostalgia Act and the Homecoming, it was a solid show, one of the better NXT episodes. But the next week after, I really didn't like this. This is a pretty nothing episode and did not necessarily get me hyped. There was a lot of taped videos and taped backstage stuff that, I don't know, it didn't necessarily amp me up for No Mercy at all. We're not doing a Saturday night post show. We will be going live Sunday. And I mean, that's work and other stuff aside, but I'm not mad at all, because I wouldn't even have remembered almost that there's a PLE with these matches on it.
I didn't. In fact,
too much wrestling every week.
Well, that's one thing, and that's a whole other debate to have on other platforms and stuff, right? But like, I'm going to the Suicide Boys show on Saturday. I have zero interest in watching. I can't wait for that. I have zero interest in watching NXT live. Like, I'll watch it when I get home. Right? I have so much other things to do at this point.
Yeah, I I want NXT to be good again, and there's glimpses of it. There really is. Like week by week, we watch it every week. Sometimes we'll be like, "Oh, this match was really good." You know, we should. This week's kind of thumbs down for me, and I that didn't amp me up or get No Mercy juiced up or excited for it personally. But we can go through this card and maybe give a little preview and predictions for No Mercy this Saturday.
One last thing before we move on to that. What I find with NXT the most is when they're focused on being developmental, they are at their best. When they're trying to be this half breed of developmental and a main roster third brand, they get lost in the mix. And that's what I'm finding right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They're really throwing shit at the wall. Absolutely. No Mercy. Let's go through this. JC Jane versus Lola Vice for the NXT Women's Championship. Will Jasmine show up at all, I guess, actually, but will she come into play for this match? Will Lola finally have her moment? You know, my heart says Lola, but my head is saying JC retains here.
I agree with you on that one. You know what? I'm going to say Lola just because you're saying JC retains. I'm going to go with Lola just because I want to see her dad lose his shit in the celebration.
Yeah. Just want to see her shaking it and then her dad going crazy.
Shaking his. Let's see shaking.
I would love to see her win it, but I don't know. I would like that shake up a little bit, but something's fishy with this Jasmine Nix fatal influence thing. I don't know. I'm thinking JC retains. We have Ethan Page versus Tavion Heights for the North American Championship. What happens here?
Man, this is a hard one, right? Part of me thinks and knows that Ethan Page is going to win. The other part of me is like, I want him to lose so he can go to SmackDown.
Yeah. I do want, I think he's done everything in NXT. He's been great in this run, but I don't know if it's Tavion to be the one to necessarily do it, right? But then who the hell else is there?
That's the issue with the entire men's division in NXT is who else is there. Josh Briggs, I think he's destined to go to Oba or whomever.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I'm going with Ethan Page retaining. That's what I'm going.
All right.
We have Blake Monroe versus Jordan Grace in a weaponized steel cage match. Weaponized. Bring that word into the conversation this week. Everyone out there listening, try to just casually bring weaponized into a normal conversation. I think Jordan Grace. No, I think Blake, really, I guess.
They're putting too much emphasis, too much effort, too much high quality promos into trying to make us think that Blake Monroe is more than just a pretty face. So It would be really weird, but so WWE if she were to lose and then that's it. I think Blake should win. I think she will win, but it is WWE.
I like both of these people. I think they're really talented, but I think this is one of my least favorite feuds of the year. This feud just hasn't worked from the jump with the name calling stuff. And I don't know. I'm hoping maybe we get a good match out of this, but it looks like pink kendo sticks and trash cans again. I'm kind of over that. Yeah, no. But I guess I'll go with Blake winning this one here. We have Javon Evans taking on Josh Briggs. As you said, Josh Briggs being a new meanie in NXT. It's like, do we give him this momentum to go after Oba yet again, or do we give it to Javon, who's also riding a wave right now? So
I think just because they're trying to build Josh Briggs, it makes sense for him to get the win.
Yeah.
Not necessarily mean that he's going to go after Oba Femi right away, but you at least I feel like they need to make him credible at this point. They need to get him this win against Javon. Because how are you going to explain that one the next day in the office?
Yeah.
I lost again. Mea culpa.
That's kind of thing. He's got to have a big win over him. And Javon, he can go through this losing streak to finally break out and get that title when it comes to it eventually.
And like I said, Javon, this isn't hurting Javon in any shape or form if he loses or wins. It's not hurting him, and it's not elevating him. This is more for Josh Briggs.
Yeah. Speed championship match. Oh wait, I guess I'm saying we're both saying Josh should win this match. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Women's Speed Championship 5-minute match between Sol Ruca and Lainey Reid. Do we see Lainey getting the win here? Whether it's Zarya accidental bump here, whether it's fatal attraction, maybe Lainey Reid. Someone in the chat is saying Lainey is the one who attacked Jasmine. I mean, that's probably the storyline, is what they said. Could it have been? No, it couldn't have been her. But like, I don't know.
I think Lainey's gonna win. Sol doesn't need 2 belts, and if Zarya is the one who costs her the belt, you got that built-in, my bad type of thing that they've been doing for the past several months, weeks,
right?
Whatever it's been.
Yeah. And then main event. So we're both going with Lainey taking the speed.
Yep.
Lainey Speed champ. Oba Femi NXT title on the line against Ricky Saints. I think we both were on the page that Ricky Saints is just a bit more interesting when he's a bad guy, but we got a few bad guys cooking right now. Too many cooks. So I don't know. Does Ricky win the belt right now as a baby face? I don't think so. To me, we then what? Right? I just feel like they're still silently in parallel building up Javon and Oba to be the match in NXT. Yeah.
So I just, even with a short run, I don't see how we're going to get there if Saints is champ.
I agree. I still think the big end game, the end game was Trick and Oba, and they gave it to us for free in about 9 minutes, commercials and everything tonight. But I do think Javon Oba one-on-one again in WrestleMania season time, like Stand and Deliver season, should be the big match for NXT, and should be this big run finally gets overtaken by Javon. So I'm not necessarily I want a shakeup with the men's division because it's been just Oba Femi really, but I don't know if it's Ricky's time just quite yet, but I'm looking forward to that match. I'm assuming that match is pretty good. Ricky definitely, his NXT run's been a little rocky, but I think he can definitely step it up with Oba here. I think Javon and Josh will probably steal the show with their match. And hopefully we get some good stuff with everything else. So I am looking forward to it. Don't get me wrong, but the hype and the excitement level compared to a lot of the other shows this year, definitely a little down there, I'd say. But
I'm looking forward to this more than Heat Wave. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. It's about, I don't know. It's the last few PLEs are kind of the same. I know some we're going up against. We have the Bash and stuff, but I don't know. I want NXT to get their groove back a little bit.
Agreed.
Again, week by week, like some weeks can be really good though. So I don't know.
Exactly. It's NXT's just in a weird place. And like I said earlier, I think when they focus on their own brand and act as developmental, we get the best out of NXT, which is kind of ironic. We don't need that that main roster rub or the TNA rub or anything like that.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, maybe Matt Cardona, more of him. I mean, he got a big pop when his face showed up on the screen.
Yeah.
We need Matt Cardona versus Oba Femi.
Jeez, can you imagine?
For the title. Zack Ryder for NXT champ. Bring the hype riders back. Be a whole thing. Be awesome.
Let's do it.
Great.
I know.
This has been great. Thank you so much, Boris, for jumping in here, having a blast talking about some wrestling, and everyone out there listening here at Post Wrestling, appreciate here. Again, Davie and I do a whole bunch of shows, Poisonrana.ca for links of everything. We've done a Wrestlepalooza 97 review. We did a catching up show talking about my trip to Japan and all these other things that we do over at the Poisonrana feed. But Boris, please let people know where they can find you and what you got going on and all the wrestle talk that you do as well.
Yeah, so apluswrestling.com is the best place to find everything about A Plus Wrestling. We talk about sports, entertainment, and then we bring it all together, chat some sports entertainment, or like we like to call it, wrestling. And it's just a bunch of fun. It's just, we just have fun with it. The show that's consistent is our weekly wrestling show on Sundays/Mondays. And we have interviews, we talk about stuff, and where you can find us on any podcasting platform, just search for A Plus Productions. But if you really just want to catch the wrestling, just search for A Plus Wrestling. When you do the search, it's A as in the Canadian A with the symbol plus wrestling.
Excellent. Thank you so much as always. And I'm sure we'll have to do some more shows down the line here in our great city of Toronto. And again, thanks to anyone checking us out, Poisonrana.ca for everything else that we do. Check out our All Out Wrestlepalooza review just on our YouTube, Spotify, whatever it is. Give us a little follow. Poisonrana for everything that we do. And we can't do it without our listeners. So that is it. That is all. See you this Sunday. Davie and I will be live at 2 p.m. covering No Mercy and everything else going on this week in Dynamite and Raw and SmackDown and everything else in wrestling. 2 p.m. live this Sunday here at Post Wrestling, where Davie and I will be chatting some No Mercy. So we will chat then. Until then, take care, goodbye, and be safe, my friends.